once, like Brenda was saying, she loves what she does and that's all she has to do. That's great. But, if you can't, then find some way to make money. I love our company. We service very large institutions across the country, but then I get to create things like Pivoting in Heels and Runway Latinx that benefits so many people. Again, our theme was We Flourish, capital W-E, Flourish, because we've been through such a hard time. And I create these themes because I want to not just affect a few people, but the big we, right? And so I'm hoping all of you leave very enlightened today by these incredible women. I consider all of them friends, and I'm very happy to have them here today. One of them cannot be here today. She had a family problem, but we're going to hear, she recorded a couple of messages. Her and I, have been in contact. Hopefully everything's okay. Claudia, Romo, Edelman. But we're going to hear, a couple of things from her that I think will be inspiring. And that also, for those of you that are Latinas, I think it's very important to understand because it's a little bit about stats, data. For me, data is super, super important for us to understand and to be tracking. Because if you don't understand data, if you don't understand numbers, if you're not watching that, then you're really not paying attention to the details, and the lack of details are what can get you in trouble, right? So you need the data. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm really excited because I get these three individuals here today. They're all lightning bolts, okay? The three women that you're going to get to meet today, and Claudia as well, are just these incredible, powerful women that have been through ups and downs. All of them have had some ups and downs, but they don't let anything stop them. And that's what I really want for all of you. I don't want anything to stop you. I want you, to go at it 100% and then get 150%, right? And I'm so happy for the men that are here. Can we give a big round of applause to the men that are here? Because the fact is, we can't do it by ourselves. We can maybe for a short time, but with you, with all of us working together, we could do so much more. I do want to tell everybody, I know we're live streaming again. Danielle, we're good? We're good. Yeah, Eric's saying good. Okay, so we're on live streaming again. If you want to share that with your friends, we're live streaming at Runway Latinx and at Pivoting in Heels, both on Facebook and on our YouTube channels. As I said yesterday, we had a lot of people watching us, so I'm pretty excited about that. We're being watched across the country. All right, let's get this going. So the first individual that I want to introduce to you, I don't even want to tell them how long I've known you. But we've known each other for a long, long time. We work together. We've been friends. I'm so proud of everything that Desiree Rogers has done. Let me just tell you, this woman, when I knew her, she was the head of the lottery for Illinois. She's been the head of People's Gas. She's worked in the Obama White House. And, she's, again, one of those beautiful individuals that has been through many things, but always seems to come out on top and takes the lessons that she learns to even do bigger things. And I'm so grateful to her because she is one of our main sponsors for this event that we've had for 3 days and the sponsor of our makeup. So please help me welcome Desiree Rogers. Are you good up here? Ah, she's good. I'm wearing my work shoes because I've been on my heels all day. Desiree, you and I are going to kind of share a mic. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And then another individual that I've also known for a very, very long time. She's like a finance guru. When you think about money, you think about Adela. Think about money, Adela. She's one of those leaders in our community, but in the finance community, who's extremely well respected. Some of the bigger deals in the country she's involved with. And apart from that, I think one of the things a lot of people don't know is with regards to Latinas specifically, there aren't a lot of us who have, there's a ceiling and there's a corporate ceiling. And the corporate ceiling is for me at least, it's getting on some of these corporate boards. And so she's an individual And all these individuals are very well educated, but she's one of these individuals that has actually been on several corporate boards. And I know she's going to talk a little bit about that because they each have a separate area. But, you're thinking about Harris Bank, and you've been on so many other boards, that she's one of those leaders that I also look to, like Desiree, to get inspired, to get ideas. Because, ladies, I do think that it's okay to get inspired from another individual. It's not okay to be jealous of them, but it's great to be inspired. So, Adela Cepeda, welcome. You good? Señando pierna. Thank you so much for being here with us. And then the third individual that's going to be here with us, I mentioned Claudia Romo. We're going to have a video of her, Edelman. But the third individual, we got to meet each other a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. So Runway Latinx, we did it in 2019. And so much fun. So I went and I looked at different models, right? And I love her because, I saw her and I saw this energy, right? And I said, I really want her to model. And then she comes to me, and this is important. She said, I really want to model for your show. I'm new here in town, and I really want to be a part of this. This is a Latino event. I want to be a part of it, etc. And that's the thing. You got to ask for what you want. And in her, I was inspired because she's young. At the time, I have a daughter that's 24. She's 23. And I was, she's she's gonna blaze through, and she's become a huge influencer. She's doing so many incredible things. And yesterday it was so great for me because 2 years ago she was on the runway as a model, and today she'll announce a program that she's doing. But she put together a campaign, an Hispanic campaign with Corbell that was off the charts for the Hispanic community. And I'll have her tell you a little bit about it. But again, she's making her dreams come true. She collaborated with a designer that she met at our event 2 years ago from Mexico, help get jobs for women in Mexico that really need it. And then now is here with us today. Te quiero mucho, Fernanda Flores. Come on up here. Give her a big round of applause. Oh.
You make me cry.
Oh.
Just emotional to remember those things.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It seems like a long time for me.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen.
And wait till you hear a little bit of the story where she was at it 2 years ago, because I know that's going to be part of the discussion. So let me start. I want to ask, and I'll start with you, Desiree. And we've been in a near death experience together. Let me just tell you, we've been through a lot of stuff together. But I want you to talk a little bit about, because I think, a lot of times other women see all the things that you're doing, all the three things that you're doing, and think that life is perfect. Think that you haven't had a lot of problems, things have come on a silver plate or whatever. And that's not the case. I've got to tell you, these women work really, really hard. But I want to ask you a question, and I want to hear from the three of you about a time or something that has happened. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a story about something that has affected your self-esteem, and share with us a little bit about maybe how you dealt with that.
Sure. I'm Desiree Rogers, which you now know. I actually am from Louisiana, but have been in Chicago for many, many years. And Arabelle and I had the pleasure of working for a governor, Jim Edgar, many years ago. And so we were in his cabinet together. And so that's how we got to know each other. So, having said that, let me think. My mother always says I'm a very confident girl. And so anything that happens bad, I always say I have this big trunk under my bed. I go through it and I just throw it in the trunk and I keep moving, because I think one of the things is you can just dwell so long and that holds you back. That holds you back from the healing that's required. And so I throw mine in an imaginary trunk. My trunk's pretty big. So I guess the most public thing that some people know about me is I worked in the Obama administration as their first social secretary. And I spent 15 months there. I went with the intent of probably spending at least 2 years there because I really am a business person, not a politician. But I was selected to support them doing events. And so I thought, you cannot say no to a president. I have to go. So I quit my job. I got off of my boards with great excitement to support the first African American president. I got there and I probably knew, and I don't know that I've said this before, but probably knew within 4 weeks this was not going to be for me completely. And my mother and daughter both had said to me, "We don't think this is a good idea for you." And I said, "Oh, hogwash, I can do it. It's going to be fine. I'm going to get out of there in 2 years. It's going to be a great experience, etc." And so when you realize, and what did I realize? Went in with a different approach. I went in with approach to do things a little bit differently. And one of the things I now know about Washington and politics, it's very hard to do things differently. Every role is kind of outlined a certain way, including the president. So it's hard. People say the president didn't do a lot, or this congressman didn't do a lot. There's so many boxes that they fit people into, and you're held to that. And there are a lot of people that make money or either gain power by keeping you in those boxes, even if you're the president or first lady, or in my case, the lowly social secretary. And I just didn't get it. I was like, why are they worrying about me? I mean, really, what power do I really have? But it wasn't really about power, but it was more about I was choosing to do things a lot differently. And I was the first African American social secretary. I, they made fun of the way I dressed. They made fun of, what shoes I had on, and I refused to change into something else. And so it's not like I was in a ball. I didn't look like these ladies, that I was in a crown and ball gown, but it was very different than what was expected. And so they came after me. And so by the time I kind of realized, what was happening, I was like out of there. And it was a very humiliating experience because I really worked so hard. I worked day and night. I will put my events up against anyone's events that has ever done an event at that White House. They were spectacular. Our team was spectacular. Your daughter worked there. We worked night and day to create these amazing opportunities for people to spend time at the White House. Having said that, people were, my hometown was disappointed. Everyone was kind of disappointed, like, what happened, et cetera, et cetera. I really couldn't talk about it at the time because there was a breach into the White House. And so I took the blame for that. And so it required me to really dig deep because I just didn't feel like I had done anything wrong. I still, frankly, don't feel that I did anything wrong. I was not part of the Secret Service. But who are you going to blame, me or the Secret Service? And so I understood that it had to be me. I mean, because they have a job to do day in and day out. And so that was a hard thing to swallow at a time where I was working so hard to make everything as perfect as I thought I could make things. And I'm not saying that I didn't make mistakes. I don't want you to walk away and say that I was perfect and I wasn't perfect. I didn't do some of the schmoozing I needed to do to at least have a corner of people saying, hey, give her a second chance. Hey, I didn't have that corner, frankly, because I was sleeping like 3 hours and I didn't have time to schmooze. I was just so busy running around to do these events. And someone said to me, which made me think, they said, maybe the events didn't have to be so great. And so, but that's what I didn't understand. Maybe that was my lesson. Maybe they didn't have to be so great. And maybe that's why I didn't fit in, because I'm never going to do anything less than I think is great. And so that was that. And so, I came back to Chicago, kind of the whole world knew I was coming back. And I really had to kind of dig deep to heal. First off, to find out, what did I do wrong? Because everyone kept saying, what lessons did you learn? What did you do wrong? People were, you're going to write a book. Are you going to do this? Like, no, I'm going to work on me and figure it out. And so I guess my in closing, I would say that, very public, nasty things can happen. And if you just keep that trunk open, throw it in there, and surround yourself with people that are going to help you, take those next steps, there's something that's always waiting in front of you. Don't forget that. So you can close that trunk. Don't look behind other than to learn whatever lessons you need to learn, but really keep your face pushing forward. And that, there's a beautiful life out there for all of us. We all stumble, and as long as my mother would say, as long as we're living, we're going to stumble. So just get prepared, get the trunk out.
I bet it's a beautiful looking trunk too. I can just imagine something. Wouldn't expect anything less. Adela, would you share with us one of those moments or situations that you've lived through and how you kind of dealt with it?
Thanks. Thanks very much for inviting me, and thanks to all of you for being here. So, I am Adela Cepeda, and I am mm, an expert in capital markets. That's the only thing I've ever done in my life is understand and work with capital markets. That means stocks, bonds, everything that's investment related. Um, and I spent a hard decade working for a Wall Street firm, Smith Barney, taking companies public and doing their debt and all this stuff. And then afterwards, I thought I would take some time off, but time off meant I started some businesses. And for the most part, they were very successful. The last one I sold in 2019 to the number one firm in the industry, and everything is good. But in 2006, I decided that I should own, as part of my businesses, a broker dealer. I had already been a founder of a couple of other ones that have gone on to be extraordinarily successful. So I was fixated on doing it for myself. Well, there was an economic crisis in 2008. So my broker dealer came right head on against this torrentially bad market, and it failed. And that's the first, and it was very public. Everybody knew I was starting this. I had a lot of visibility because there aren't a lot of Latinas in finance, and there aren't a lot of Latinas in the capital market. You know, People always gave me a lot of attention, and when I failed, I got a lot of attention too. And then it's like, how do you get through it? It could have bankrupted me. It came close, and then how do I pick myself up and keep going? But I have to agree completely with what Desiree says. You just pick yourself up and you keep going, because life is so fabulous, and this is only business. This is not family. This is not somebody sick. This is not, no. This is business. Even if it had involved bankruptcy, you just do it, and then you get up and you. That's why the most important thing for Latinas is education and having the ability to have a great career. That's what we deserve. That's what we should do. And as long as we have this, nobody can take that from us. That's number one. So, I just kept going. And like I said, in 2019, I sold another one of the businesses. I've gone on to be a director of, Harris Bank, BMO. I'm a director there. I'm a director of the UBS Mutual Funds. By the way, in later this month, I will be the chair of three different mutual funds: UBS, Mercer, and Pathways. So, so it's okay. It's okay.
So you keep
Thanks.
moving forward. And so, do you look back on anything right now and say, I should have done it differently? Or do you just keep looking ahead and thinking, I'm going to keep targeting something new?
Yeah, I'm not, I don't look back a lot. I have a vision. I had a vision in college that I would run a company. Back then, I didn't know that many companies. I thought it would be IBM, but I didn't know that this opportunity to be chairman of a board or on the board is the governing body that runs a company. So, in essence, I've reached this goal that I had in a different way than I even knew but I keep, I've had these goals and I keep them, and I always have a perspective of something ahead that I want to accomplish. I visualize it, I picture it, I'm going there. And few things get in my way.
I love it. Love it. I told you these are powerful women. Fernanda. So I remember, I remember I went with you to the event when you announced a big change in your life for the first time. So, but tell us a little bit about if at that moment or some of the other moments, because you've done so much in such a short time, and you're
Yeah.
so courageous. I want you to share that with everybody, like some of those moments and how you found the courage at such a very young age to do what you've done.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Well, as you know, yeah, I am young, but I don't feel young. That's like something everybody says. Is like, were you always so stressed out about your future and the things that you want to do, and you just want to go, go, go? It's just because I don't think about my age, and sometimes I have to like look back and be like, okay, you're doing fine. It's gonna be okay, and it's just because I am so hard with myself. I just come from a family of women mostly. My grandma, my mom, and my two aunts. It was only my grandpa, the male at home. So I basically grew up with that strong women mindset of we gotta work hard, we gotta move forward, we have to. No, it doesn't matter what's going on. You just have to work and stand up, and keep going. So for me, I have that very deep within myself, and I want to make my grandma proud of me in everything I do in my life. That's my biggest motor to me. So yeah, I mean, in a very young age, I had really a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. I was like 14 years old in Mexico. I grew up in Mexico, born and raised. So growing up with a lot of stress, helping a lot to my mom because I'm the oldest of my brother and sister, and with a lot of responsibilities, it made me develop that I would say strength to face stress, to face problems in a good way, and it made me who I am today. I remember talking to my mom the other day about these things. I used to complain a lot, Mom, why I can't have a normal life? My girlfriends, they go home after school and they get their moms, they serve them food, they have everything ready, they can get to their homework and be okay. I have to go home, make food for my brother and my sister, make sure they're doing their homework, doing all these things. That why can't I just be normal? And my mom will be, you will understand one day. Well, that day is here. Now I understand that all these things prepare me to be who I am, and I'm very proud and happy that I went through that. And my mom, made me through to go through these things, because I just feel like it made me grow faster and old, and that have that old soul that I can see that I can apply those things in my daily basis to be disciplined and be able to work towards my goals. So I'm very grateful to my mom now, and she's like, "See, I told you," and everything makes sense. So, but back then I'd be crying and like, why I can't go to the movies without my sister. So yeah, and yeah, I moved to the States when I was 19. It was total change. I didn't know any English. I had to learn, and I moved to a city which is Lumberton, North Carolina. Not many Hispanic communities, so I forced myself basically, and I do know also from that once that we put ourselves in the necessity, it's just nature, or community, or nature as humans is to communicate. So that helped me to like feel forced to communicate and get my self independence back, because that's one big thing in the Hispanic Heritage Month, that I want to share a advice to the immigrant community. Then when once we decide to move to a new country, it doesn't have to be the US, but anywhere else, it's a responsibility as immigrants to adapt to the culture and learn the language and learn the social norms, and open our mind to learn from the culture of other individuals, and all of that, because that's a big thing that I affect me, because it was hard, and I put myself in really hard situations, but once that I opened my mind to learn to be patient, it just opened more doors for myself.
Fernanda, so, and I love, because not everybody knows your story,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just like share them quickly.
Sure.
So when I met her, she had just gotten off of the 90-Day Fiance
Show, yeah.
show, which is how a lot of people know
No me.
Fernanda, right? And so we got to know each other a little bit, and then I remember that event that you
Mm,
went, and you were announcing that you were finally able to get a divorce
yeah.
from a very difficult individual that you
Yeah,
were
that's
married
another
to.
big thing. I feel like our culture, we grew up in a, well, I grew up in a very religious family. My grandparents were Jehovah Witnesses. Um, where they are. Well, my grandma passed away this year. But I grew up with, you're not going anywhere if you're not getting married. Like, that's, you're married and you can go and do your life, but you have to, like, it's not okay. That's not the way how we raised you, right? So I felt like I was doing things right for everybody else, and I thought that was right for myself. But then, sure, I understood that that wasn't the way to go. With I was too young, and I realized many things. But that's another thing, if we feel the social pressure and you don't want to disappoint them, and especially when they're my everything, my family, all I want to do is to see them happy. And that's the way how they think. And that's the way how I thought back then. So I wasn't happy in my marriage. I separated, and I basically, coming from another country, it's just very difficult. The whole system makes it very difficult for us, especially being women, especially being Mexican back then. I remember that politics was also a little bit tough for
Yes, that
Mexicans.
was an interesting period to be an immigrant here
Yeah.
in the U.S.
So it was hard for me. I didn't have a work permit. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do many things. So I had to pick up myself and leave my unhappy situation and start over. I got my phone reporter stolen. I had no phone, no money. It was very tough for me, but I had family. My dad and my grandparents live here in Chicago. So I decided to do all these things that I was told I couldn't by my ex partner, because I just, I transformed that pain and that, like, frustration into motivation to, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show myself and everybody else that yes, I'm capable of. And I might not speak English well, I might not learn how, like, know how to use the train. And yes, Chicago seems very, very, he said it was very um dangerous, and what you're gonna do there, and like, it scared me back then. And it's just funny to me now because I made my way to the city, I had my own apartment, I did all these things that I thought one time that I couldn't. And yeah, I mean, things went really good for myself afterwards.
I love it. I love it because, that's the thing. Let's give her a big round of applause as well. I think that's the thing. A lot of times we do things because other people tell us that it's the right thing to do, even though inside of us we know that it's not the right thing to do. But we do it because we want to please people, we want to make
True.
people happy. I think, especially as women, we're taught, especially as Latinas, that we're supposed to make people happy. Our parents,
Yeah.
our boyfriends, our husbands, and I think all of us kind of have been through that. Desiree, I want to ask you, can you share with us, do you have some habits that you think, because you do have that very positive self-esteem. This woman's always like, no, making lemonade out of lemons. But can you give us like one or two tips of something that you do, if not daily, on a regular basis, that you think keeps you on track on being positive?
Well, the first thing, I'm a cancer survivor. And so I'm not wishing that on anybody, but it does give you a different frame of reference. And when people would say, you'll see you're going to turn into a different person after cancer. And I kept waiting for the turn, waiting for the turn, waiting. And it really wasn't a turn. But I think for me, I just often just try to put things in perspective. And so that's the biggest thing, right? And you have this thing like, I got to get here, and then if I don't make that, then I got to do this, and then after that I'm going to do this, and it's going to go this way, and it's going to go. No, it's not. And once you just like release that, We all can think about the things that we want to do, how we want to conduct our lives. I call it now curating your life, because each of us should curate our lives, the lives that we want, as opposed to following something that somebody else did this, so I can do this. Forget about that. Just forget about it. And so just think about, how do you want your life to go from this day forward? And that doesn't mean you have to map out the next year. That's ridiculous. I don't map out the next week. I do map out, try one day at a time. I do try one day at a time. I do write things down for one day at a time. And if I don't get it done, I will tell you, I do not beat myself up. It goes on the next day's list. So it's an mindedness to not failure, but to being generous with what I can accomplish in what period of time. Always kind of focus more long term on, I'm going to get there versus I'm not going to get there. So it's a very positive way of conducting or curating one's life. So that's one big mind trick. And I give myself little rewards, and you say, like, what is that? And so just a little reward, because we all need to, like, have some fun, have a break. I mean, and during the day, during the time, it could be as simple as a glass of tea. It could be as simple as your favorite, caramel. It could be 15 minutes on a show you want to see. It could be reading, whatever, like, kind of lights up your soul and makes you feel like, I'm not just, geez, I don't know if I can get through this day. Can I have some fun around here? Give yourself some little something. And I learned that during my cancer treatments, as I love the show Law and Order. And it's still my favorite show, because as I was going through treatment, first I could watch only 10 minutes, then 15, then 20. So every time that music comes on, it's like a big anthem for me, that show. So what do? I watch that show a lot, or at least listen to the music. I think the other big thing is surrounding yourself with people that are going to be supportive. And so maybe not in everything, but if it's this, I'm going to go to this one. If it's this, I'm going to go to this one. The hardest piece to that is letting go or managing differently those folks, not folks that are just not agreeing with you, that's not it, but folks that literally aren't rooting for you. And you know who they are. They literally are just not rooting for you. And that's just no good. And the thing, the amount of energy it takes to convince them to root for you is just not worth it. It's too hard. And I think the big thing is just admitting some things are just too hard. And I'm just not going to do them. So those are just a few tidbits to how my mind works. But and as I said, I know it's hard, but sometimes you just have to walk away. You just have to walk away. And sometimes if someone else is hooked to that person and they don't understand, well, they can go too. Because life is hard enough without being surrounded or even having one person, in your orbit that just doesn't have your best interests at heart. You know?
So true. And it's not always easy to do, but sometimes it's what you got to do. Adela, can you tell us about mentorship? And is there an individual that has mentored you, or individuals, and maybe what those qualities were of that person?
You know, I'm in a field where there weren't a lot of women, and so I really don't have a lot of women mentors other than in my family. I come from a family that was very strong. They picked themselves up from a pretty good life in Colombia and decided to come to the US when I was 6 years old. And they started over. And my mom was very accomplished in Colombia, and here her English was never ever good again. She spoke it and wrote it better than me, even after I went to college. I mean, wrote it and read it better than me, but she never spoke it well. My father never lost his accent either, but they were determined that we should get the best education possible. So their dream kind of was imposed on me. The thing about other people's dreams on you is that, yes, sometimes you can't fit within that. But the other thing that can happen is that their dream becomes your dream. And that's a very beautiful thing. I don't know when it happened, but at some point, I wanted this education too. At first, it was like, okay, I just need to, my father can't keep saying this. He would tell everybody my daughter's so smart. And I would be like, what? I can barely even, I would cry every day. I couldn't understand the homework for 2 years. But then, I want to make them happy. And then eventually, I wanted to be the best one. I did. And I was competitive with myself, and not, I just wanted to do the best that I could. So that was superimposed on me. Um, in terms of mentoring, I really want to. Somebody just asked me this recently. I'm sure there were men along the way that opened doors, and women too. But today, I am inspired more than anything by what I see in young women and the things that they're trying to do. And what it inspires me to do is not to copy them, not to say, oh, I want to be the best. No, but I want to be a door opener for them. I want to make it, I do. I have three daughters, and maybe that's a reason. I know that I can't open all the doors for them, but if I open all the doors for all the other women, young women, Latina women that don't have a lot of mentorship, then I feel that's the right place for me at this time. And that's what I want to do.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And that's really why we're doing Pivoting in Heels, because also part of the funds that are being raised are going for these internship scholarships. So when I do anything, I ask my daughter, I asked my daughter, okay, what should we really be doing? And she was the one that told me, don't just be doing these scholarships. They have to be internship scholarships. Make sure they get paid and then do training for them, because you're sending out these young women and they don't have any training in leadership or how to dress or how to this. You've got to get them prepared so they're successful. So I think all of us agree on that. And that's why it was very important for me also to have Fernanda on board, because I do see you doing, a lot of things, and we've got to work together. I don't believe in age gaps. I think that's a thing in your head. I really do. I think if all of us work together, we can do so much for each other. Fernanda, I want to ask you a little bit. So I consider you a woman in power.
Thank you.
You've got about 500,000 followers on Instagram, and a lot of people that love you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. So can you tell us a little bit how practicing self-confidence, how have you used that to encourage others, and how would you encourage others to become more self-confident and to utilize positive self-esteem?
Well, thank you for asking. I get that question all the time on my social media, especially. A lot of people, I love sharing my journey in my daily basis on my social media, just in general, what I eat for breakfast, my workout, whatever project I'm working on. And I love the good feedback, because the feedback, it's like, oh, thank you. I needed to watch this. Or now I'm going to work out. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing that. And it's very empowering for me. That's like my reward. And one day I was asked also, what's the meaning of success for you? And that was a very powerful question for me, because then I thought, money, you know, I like money. I like making happy, like what I can do with money, places I can go, buy gifts for my family and my loved ones and this and that, and live and having a nice lifestyle, of course. But that's not it. Then I thought of many other things, and then I got to the conclusion that my best feeling I get, and I say this is success to myself, it's when I can impact positively to someone. And it doesn't matter if it's one person or five people or 100, it's just in some way that somebody can take something positive from me and add it to their lives. That's it for me. And it's hard. Self-esteem for me, I believe, and um having that is, it's, to me, it's not a permanent feeling. I believe then that's an up and down, just like a roller coaster. um because I experienced it myself in many different situations. Of course, myself trying to be a model and getting myself into fashion industry, and just working towards my dreams, it was really hard, you know especially being a Hispanic woman and being curvy girl and not, being the tall, white, skinny. Like, it was tough. I was told, to get entertainment, you have to get rid of your accent. There is many things that I was told that I had to mold on. But I'm like, but why? I see all the shows of Sofia Vergara and she's, shining. So I was like, okay, well, then I question myself, do I really want to do that? No. If a client is going to take me, it's going to take me because they like who I am and how I look. Because I like who I am and how I look right now. So then I start putting those things within myself and just working every day constantly and doing the little things as she said, then bring me a little joy for myself. And remembering, and then also you said something very important that I found very interesting also within myself. Then once we have this is something that nobody can take from us, right? So even with being in an abusive situation where I was told many other things, and then that even like kind of like blind me for believing and knowing who I really am, it takes me back to the no. In very deep in my roots, I know who I am, I know who I want to become, and I stay true to that. And once that I understood and got back to that, I said to myself, nobody else is gonna tell me wrong, never again. And from there, I just know that self-esteem is just gonna be for life, a constant work. It's going to get easier every time that you practice it, though, but it's never gonna be all the time I'm feeling fabulous and I'm fabulous.
And you're all fabulous. You're all fabulous.
I mean, we are, yeah.
Desiree, I want to ask you. So when someone is, what do you recommend when somebody is starting their journey to self-love? Do you think they should start from the inside, or does sometimes starting from the outside work? And give us an example of which one and how you do that.
I know you're talking to someone with two beauty companies. I think it could be a combination of both. I think that we all own our bodies, our faces. And I think that we get to do, I'm talking beauty now. I don't mean we get to do whatever we want with that canvas. We could decide, you know what, I don't want any makeup. I just want to have a nice, good soap. And I want my skin to look clean and shiny and bright. I could decide that I don't want to do anything with my hair, or I could decide I want it 3 colors and I want it, clipped up, and I'm going to put some more hair on. And so I think it's a form of expression that brings you joy. And so my mother was saying, why are you dressing that way? I said, for me, I want to see how I look. I'm not dressing for a man or a woman or, I just want to see how I like these shoes on me. I like the way this looks on me. And so that is important to me in terms of just feeling. And look, no one can look good every day. I have some good days, some bad days, but it gives me a little extra pep. I don't know. When you think like, I look pretty good today, I can do anything. It gives you that confidence that, all of those things that, make a woman. Confidence is a huge piece, your own confidence. That confidence draws other people to you. Nobody wants somebody that's like, I'm terrible, I look terrible, I'm too fat, you know what? Get over it. We got the bodies we got. We need to take care of them. We need to work with them. If you got it up here, then draw it up there. If you got it down there, then draw it down there. Nobody has got a perfect anything. And so it's all about how you think about yourself and give yourself that freedom to experiment and to paint and to color and to clip and to put this on or that on the way you want, the way you want to look. I was so sad. I read something where like your age dresses like this. They have that magazine. It's like, if you're 20, you can wear this. If you're 30, you wear this. 40, you wear this. 50, you wear this. And my numbers kept going up. And I was like, I'm still on 20. I want that dress. I want to wear. So I hate it when people say you cannot do something because of a number, or because you might be a little bit chubby, or you might be a little be busty, or not have a just if you like it, we love it. And so I think that that is part of, just so many young women are fighting around that thing. It's like, you got to give up on that, and you got to kind of like embrace, who you are, what you've been given. And there's so many ways to like paint that canvas and look different. I mean, there's so many ways to do so many things, to just have fun with yourself. Have a ball. You don't like that day. I see women, I'm not that courageous, that you have a different hair color and style every day. I'm not that courageous. I recently put some clip-ins in. It lasted for less than 10 hours, but it was a fun 10 hours. I'm telling you. No one knew people were like, that I knew didn't know who I was. It was a lot of fun. So that's the other piece. So I think it gives you the kind of joy for yourself and kind of love of yourself. Try it, do it. It's fun. It's fun. So it's kind of a combination. I think if you don't love yourself internally, then you may not be willing to show your real face. And that, as I said, that real face could be no makeup. You're hiding under makeup. So it can go the reverse as well. And so I think when you have that happy medium, this is who I am, I accept who I am, I like the way I look, then, doggone it, who else cares? Everyone's going to come your way, because everyone's going to see how, you know, positive, and be interested in meeting you, as opposed to, hey, what are those eyelashes you have on? So I think it's a combination.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Adela, would you share with us on the days when you're feeling the most insecure? And I don't know if there's any days, but we all have some, right? We all have them. We all have days. And the days when you're feeling the most insecure, how do you cope with that? What do you do?
Well, I mean, everybody has down days. Come on, that's just a reality. And we're an ecosystem, and it's outside, it's inside, it's here. And sometimes you just feel like things aren't going right. First of all, I know tomorrow will be another day, but I have to live for today. And I didn't learn that as painfully as Desiree did, but I am a um, cancer widow. My husband died when he was 40. I was 37. And the one thing I learned from that was one day at a time. So to me, the objective is having the day be as, impactful, as fabulous as I want to do all the professional stuff that I do, which is a lot. But then I want to go to have a good dinner, and I want to go out, and if I have times, like 2 weeks off, like I don't have meetings, I want to go to, like I did this summer, I want to go to Greece, and I want to party in Mykonos for 5 days, and like on the
I want to
water.
go too.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
ready. Let's go.
I mean,
Do you
exactly.
want an extra daughter?
I want to live intensely, because that's the reward. Yes, I have these positions and they're demanding, but if there isn't some way for me to get something in return, then it wouldn't be worth it. So I just try to get through the day. Sometimes things just don't go right. Like the conversation that I meant to have with someone, it just either didn't get off the ground, they took it the wrong way. I mean, one time I was giving somebody, telling them how great they were, but that they needed to speak up. And I was saying, I said this, you're one of the smartest analysts I've ever had work for me. You are brilliant. The client is like holding on to see what idea you have, but you don't speak up often enough. And she started to cry. I'm like, that's not the way I wanted my day to go. That I was trying to compliment one of the smartest minds I've been around, and give her the confidence to speak. As you know, so something went off. So it was bad for me, and I know she felt badly because she started to cry. But you know what? The next day, or even she got over it, and she now has like this fabulous position. I think it's at BlackRock, or yeah, BlackRock, something really big. And I think that a lot of people don't take the time to tell you, how you can be better. And when somebody does, you have to say, thank you. That's a great idea. How do I do it? If you don't understand how does it happen? So, I just want my day to be intense. I do.
You made her cry. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, that's what somebody said.
No,
That
but you
you
know
made her
what?
cry.
I am the same way. I mean, I'm very honest with people, and I rather you hear the truth. And I consider you my friend. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I would say, and we've had honest conversations. You say thank you, and also, I really want to share with you that when somebody gives you a compliment, don't question it. Just say thank you. Because the more you get used to accepting things, the more you'll get those types of things. You'll open yourself to receiving more. So just be grateful for it. It may sound bad, but if somebody's being honest with you, that's really a true friend. That's really, really a true friend. So, um, you know, Fernanda, I know that you've been, through so much and everything. And sometimes things aren't easy. I think a lot of times, we think that a positive self esteem means that things are going to feel easy. They're going to be easy to do, and you're going to be able to handle everything. Can you talk about uncomfortable and how uncomfortable situations, how you come out of them
wow.
better? Because I think that's a very
Yeah.
important subject
So,
for people to understand.
Big Joe, my trainer here
Yeah.
in Chicago,
Yeah.
well, he will always tell me this phrase that I have so like stuck in my head. It's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I remember when he first said this to me, I had to look it up on Google because I didn't even know what it meant. So then now, of course, I understand, and it's like truth. When I had to do certain exercises that I didn't like, and I felt, of course, uncomfortable doing them. It meant that those exercises were working for my body. Then my body was reacting differently. It's like it's shocking. Okay, that means it's gonna improve somehow. And not only with the workouts, but also just with life in general. I learned that I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations in order to grow. And since speaking another language, since facing or having conversation or putting yourself out there, we have to be vulnerable, especially when you're in a young age trying to make it in some career or whatever field you want to develop yourself. You have to be vulnerable and uncomfortable. And
Yeah, we got a little surprise coming there. So just
so sometimes that might get a little scary, and it goes with the self-esteem situation, because sometimes if things don't go our way or how we want them to be when we're being vulnerable already, it can hit us really badly. Especially myself, I recover from depression, anxiety, things that I never ever thought in my life I would experience, because I grew up in a very loving family. I had so many friends that everybody was so nice and cool. So when I moved to another country and everyone was rude to me and kind of racist, I'm like, oh, this is real life. Okay, this is what people were talking about. So then I understood, that I felt very uncomfortable. And a lot of times I also will put my head down and just like observe that, don't say anything, and eat it up. And then later on, that eating up, it all add up when I just couldn't take it no more. And then I also realized that I had to stand up for myself, and I start speaking back. No, I didn't drive a donkey to go to school. Like, we have cars in Mexico, okay? So, because I was asked weird questions by certain people where I couldn't add up in my head. But then later on I had the courage to, like, okay, get myself better in uncomfortable situations and facing them. So yeah, that's my advice, just as Big Joe, coming from Big Joe. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
that's right. I love that.
Good one.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Really good.
So it is the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, and I'm gonna ask Eric if he could play the second part of the message that Claudia and I talked about, because I do want all of you. Some of you are Latino, some of you are not, but I do want all of you to kind of see these numbers because I do in statistics. Eric, are we good? Okay, you can play it. And I
But
know the
I
little
want to talk
surprise.
also about the internal, the personal voices that affect our self-esteem without even knowing. I'm going to tell you the story. My father was a civil engineer and he built highways in Mexico. So he took me as a kid always from Mexico, Acapulco, Mexico, Ixtapa, and so on. And he always told me, "Oh my God, you're such a great co pilot. You're such a great co pilot. In my next trip, I'll take you because you're such a good co pilot." And in a way, that was always great for me, and I looked forward, and I was very good at folding that map, where because we didn't have GPS maps. But 5 years ago, when I started looking for like a change in my life to be able to set up my own foundation, I just looked at my resume and I realized that I was always the right hand of someone without any intention. My father planted in me that idea that I was great to be a co pilot. And all of a sudden, I was that for my entire life. What about if I wanted to be a pilot? Get better at their self esteem, self advocacy, and self promotion. And this leads me to my final point about how important it is for Latinas to realize that we're the minority within the minority. We're, as a population, as a community, we're 19% of the population, but 8% of that, so half of that, is Latinas. We're a massive segment of the population. And yet, we're the least represented, the least paid, the least seen. We are seen in a perception study we just did as our physical attributes. We're seen as beautiful, sexy, loud. Well, what about hardworking? What about empathy? What about caring? What about like intelligent and strategies that we are, all of us? We're not seen for that. And there's the huge gap. We're not in corporate boards, we're not paid, we're not in divisions, and that results in a massive pay gap. And that is the last point that I want to bring to this incredible session panel that Arabelle always organizes, the best premiere in positive self-esteem. Thank you so very much, Arabella, and your panel, and I wish you a very successful day today in your event closing Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that that's very important that because we're all encouraging ourselves to have a positive self esteem. I do think that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I wanted, for you to hear from these incredible women so that you get some pointers on how every day, every day you have to work at it, though. I think every day you have to work at it and you have to, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. But there is that possibility of doing some great things in your life. I'm going to ask Fernanda, to tell
See.
us about this great project that she was just involved with. I know a lot of you got to see that were here yesterday. You got to see on the runway this project. I loved it. You can tell us a little bit. And I love that Corbell, a corporation, got behind it and
Yeah.
encouraged you to do this.
Yeah. Um, well, kind of like in conclusion, with all the things, amazing things that we got to hear today, I am a true believer that once that everything is right here and here, everything goes right here. And I am a very, very true believer of manifestation. I like to, as she said, picture things and imagine and like seeing it. um, and I have an amazing team. My assistant and myself, she's actually from Mexico too. My best friend from high school. She, we make a list of the people that I would like to work with, and one of those people were Corbel because I really like their champagne, and I met some people from California because they're a champagne made in California. And we just reach out some people, see who gets back to us, hopefully with a project, something that can be good. And this just happened. I've been working also in low key on designing my own designs and collection because that's my big picture of fashion. I got myself into modeling because it was like, the easiest, best thing at the time. But then I learned from working with a lot of different designers, and I just collected the data about how they do it, what they do, and all the process, the models, the runways, a lot of different things. So then Corbel said, we're looking for somebody like you to represent us for our campaign of Hispanic Heritage Month. And a Latina, this and that, and you fit everything, but we would like you to give you the opportunity of develop what would you like to do with the capital? How would you like to go with this project? And I present to them this idea. I said, okay, I want to bring my designs to life, and I want to work with, in the back of my head I already know that I want my product to be made in Mexico, no question. And then I brought them the project and they loved it. So basically what I said is I want my designs to also be mini designs for the bottles. How cute will that be? And they're like, yes, we love it, let's do it. So it was a small collection, only 3 different designs, but we made a lot of units of each to give away to influencers and actresses. Actually, Kate del Castillo, some big people that I look up to got to receive this. And I was really happy of the project and the outcome. Everything was made in Guadalajara, Jalisco, collaborated with Takasami, who brought the designs to life. They, worked with the indigenous women that handcraft and made my designs. I'm very proud of that because by doing that, we did got back to the economy to these people. So, and they are sponsoring today. So I got to present the whole project on Arabelle's event, which I really, really love. I believe that it was a perfect way of finishing the campaign with Hispanic Heritage Month. And I am very happy to be able to share that with all of you.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask. So we've got 2 individuals back there. They were popping those bottles, and they're going to start serving a toast. This toast is going to be for Hispanic Heritage Month. It's also going to be for the. Go ahead, you can serve that. They'll take the champagne. Oh yeah, they're like ready for it. While they're serving that, I want you to help me give a big round of applause to these incredible 3 women. So just a couple of things, just a couple of things of summary, if you think about it. So a lot of them had individuals in their life that encouraged them. Some of them were family, some of them were people they met, but sometimes they face some very, very difficult things in their life as well. And, one of the things, I don't know about you, but I kept hearing is that they visualize it, write it down, and every day they keep like pushing toward it. And it sounds to me like they also get hit with negative things, but they keep looking at the positive and keep going for it. I know for me, I've got to tell you, it's not easy. I'm also in tech, and that's a very male dominated arena. And I know one of the things I use affirmations a lot. I use visualization a lot. I love the idea, and I know all of you. If you listen to what they were talking about, they're very clear on what they want, and they're very clear about asking for what they want. And I really would love for all of you, especially the women. Man, you guys are more used to that. But I want the women to be very comfortable in asking for what you want and to moving before. Don't be shy about it. I mean, especially because you deserve it. You deserve to be able to create the kind of life that you want. I know that they're finishing up. Are we close to finishing? Yeah? Everybody get a little bit of champagne? We've got. She's like, I want some up here in the front. And can we give a big round of applause to the queens that we have up here? Salud. You beautiful, beautiful ladies that are joining us today. You're under 21, I think, so I can't give you any champagne, but we're going to toast to you. You tell me when we're ready. And again, thanks to Corbel, thanks to a big corporation, that because this is what I think is so important, right? That they took the time to listen of how something like this is so important to our community and can make such a big difference, and they put their money behind it.
Yeah, I was very grateful to Corbel, the whole team, because I got to work with them, and we work on this project for about 2 months before the actual Hispanic Heritage Month to get everything ready. And I appreciate so much how much interest they have on the Hispanic people, on the Hispanic community, and they wanting to involve more Hispanic women under marketing campaigns. So yeah, I want to cheers to them and cheers to you guys and you, all of the powerful women. Thank you so much. And yeah.
And I know we have, not sure where they're at now in the back, but I know we have in the back, um, in the Runway Latinx and Pivoting in Heels bags, we actually have a sample the for the you too, and I'm keeping one too because it's so adorable. Hey Danielle, could you try to find me those bags, because at the end of the toast I would like to kind of show Manny put him back here. He probably is
Let's
saving them,
find
but
the
for sure.
mini dress, the
Yes.
mini
So it's
curvado
very
dresses.
adorable what she did. And she has one of her designs on her now, but she created 3 little mini dresses for the bottles. They're, really gorgeous. And she put them on the bottles, but then last night they came to life because they were on the runway.
Yes.
And it was really great because I have to tell you, although it's Runway Latin X, this room, when Desiree, you were here, this room was packed all the way to the end. And then we had people all the way up here. It was packed. Not everybody was Latino, but the music that you put on was very Latino.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, to get your dream, I think you have to be courageous. You have to ask what you want, be clear about what you want. And you know what? It won't be perfect all the time, right? You might ask for something, it might be the wrong thing, but you adjust and then you learn, and then you keep going forward and keep moving forward no matter what. So I think that's one of the most important things. Does everybody have a Corbel in your hand?
Yes.
Yes?
Does anybody? Everyone?
Everyone have
That's
one?
awesome. I believe.
So a toast.
Yes.
A toast to all you 3, actually, for being so incredible,
you.
so wonderful, so
Thank
courageous,
you.
and for making such a big difference to us. Salud. Salud. Salud.
Salud.
Salud. Y salud. Oh, you're so sweet.
Incredible.
Salud. Can we give them a big round of applause? Big round of applause. Did you have fun?
It was
I,
so
I
fun.
think we have to continue to do things like this for each other and continue to talk to each other and learn from each other. I know you're going to be able to stay for a few minutes, but I know if you have some additional questions, then you can go ahead and get them. Because I'm going to tell you, to have a panel like this and to have 3 incredible women like this together, you don't get it all the time. So love you guys.
Thank you,
So
Arabelle.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.